Chicago, buckle up, because this Saturday night the Bears roll into Cincinnati carrying more storylines than a soap opera writer's room could dream up. A left tackle fighting for his career. A speed demon finally unleashed after being locked in the training room. A practically unknown pass rusher who just put the entire NFL on notice. And a receiver room so chaotic it could double as a reality show. This is preseason week 2, and trust me, it is anything but meaningless. Let's set the scene. It's Thursday afternoon in Cincinnati, and the Bears and Bengals are grinding through a joint practice under the summer sun, sizing each other up before Saturday's exhibition clash. And here's the twist nobody saw coming. The big names might not even suit up. Bengals head coach Zac Taylor already told reporters that given how physical and useful this joint practice was, he's planning to sit his starters for the actual game. And on the other sideline, Bears head coach Ben Johnson strongly hinted he's thinking the exact same way. The two coaches, it seems, are on the same wavelength, treating Thursday's joint practice as the real evaluation and Saturday's game as a showcase for everybody else. Considering the majority of Chicago's starters already sat out preseason Game 1, all signs point to a mostly backup-heavy affair. First up, the battle for left tackle. A&D Braxton Jones' last stand. If there's one man carrying the weight of the entire Bears offensive line on his shoulders this weekend, it's Braxton Jones. This is a guy who was supposed to have the left tackle job locked down, except life had other plans. He got hurt late in the 2024 season and wasn't even able to suit up for last week's preseason opener. Now he's back, he's healthy, and by all accounts, he turned in a strong showing at Thursday's joint practice, reportedly outperforming his primary competition, Theo Benedette, in that same session. And here's where the drama really kicks in. The Bears already tried auditioning other names at that left tackle spot, and it performances last Saturday. Since then, both have quietly been shuffled. Meanwhile, Theo Benedette, the guy who's technically still in the mix, struggled mightily in pass protection against Cincinnati's pass rushers in that joint practice. He may be a serviceable swing tackle, solid in the run game, but when it comes to protecting the quarterback's blind side, the concerns are real. Which brings it all back to Braxton Jones. This Saturday is being billed as his moment to put this competition to bed once and for all. If he can get out there, string together a healthy 2, 3, 4 drives, and simply look like himself, insiders believe the Bears will feel comfortable naming him the starter and moving forward with their offensive line group for the rest of training camp heading into Week 1. This isn't just about winning a job, it's about proving his body can hold up after a rough, injury-shortened 2024. And lurking in the shadows is rookie tackle Avi Trapillo, who isn't quite ready to enter the conversation yet, but could absolutely factor in down the road if Jones struggles again. For now, though, all eyes are on one man. Can Braxton Jones finally slam the door shut on this competition? The return of lightning, Xavier Thomas is back A&D hungry. If you're looking for the must-watch human highlight reel of this game, look no further than receiver and returner Xavier Thomas. After missing a week and a half with an injury, Thomas returned to practice this week and reportedly wasted zero time reminding everyone why people are excited about him, hauling in a touchdown against the second-team defense from quarterback Case Keenum in Thursday's joint practice. Expectations are that Case Keenum gets the start under center on Saturday, likely playing through the first half, before handing things off to Miller Moss for the back end of the game. And in that first half window, all eyes should be on Xavier Thomas. There's real hope he gets extended run on offense and possibly stays involved as the return man on both punts and kickoffs throughout the entire contest. Anyone who has watched this kid when he's healthy knows the appeal instantly. Electric, blazing speed. The kind of player who can turn a 5-yard check down into a 60-yard sprint to the house. He's coming off a strong camp whenever he's actually been available, and now finally healthy again. This Saturday might be our best look yet at what he can bring to this Bears offense. Consider him the one player worth keeping the remote control far, far away from your hand for. The surprise pass rusher, who came out of nowhere now. Here's a story that reads like an underdog sports movie. Meet Jamari Croma, a name that, if we're being completely honest, was not exactly circled on many training camp preview sheets heading into this summer. This is a guy who has quietly spent the last 2 seasons bouncing on and off the practice squad, unheralded, unnoticed, grinding away in the background. And then last week, out of absolutely nowhere, he put together one of the most dominant individual performances of the entire NFL preseason. 6 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 6 total pressures, a number that reportedly led every single player across the entire league in preseason week 1. Some of that damage, mind you, came against Cleveland's first-team offensive line. That is not a stat line, that is a statement. The problem for Croma? The Bears just brought in another edge-rushing option in Marcus Davenport, which means the roster math just got a lot more complicated for a guy trying to fight his way onto the 53-man roster from the outside. But make no mistake, the opportunity is still very much alive. If Croma can back up last week's explosion with another strong showing against Cincinnati, and then close things out with a big final push against the Titans in the preseason finale, he will have done everything humanly possible to force the Bears' hand. He's not there yet on this defensive line, because Jamari Croma might just be the breakout story of the summer. The nickel cornerback chess match over in the secondary. There's a legitimate power struggle brewing at the Nickels to be seizing the moment. With Jalon Jones sidelined for Muhammad has been walking right through it. In last week's preseason opener, he reportedly looked sharp, tackling well in space, correctly diagnosing a screen pass, and splitting a pair of offensive linemen to make a highlight-caliber stop. There's also a ripple effect happening at safety, where the Bears are trying to figure out how comfortable they feel with veteran Xavier Woods lining up opposite rookie standout Dylan Thieneman, which could ultimately shape how the nickel position gets used as well. And let's not forget, as of Thursday, there was still no clear update on the status of returning veteran Kyler Gordon, adding even more uncertainty to the mix. But here's the kicker on Muhammad. This is a rookie who reportedly said months ago that he didn't come to Chicago to sit on the bench, he came to play, period, if nickel cornerback is his fastest path onto the field on opening day. Don't be shocked if that's exactly where he ends up. The kid wants the ball rolling in his direction, and right now, it looks like it might be. The wide receiver six-pack battle royale, let's talk about one of the most fascinating subplots of this entire training camp. Who claims that 6th and final wide receiver spot? A handful of names everyone already assumes are locks. Rome Odunze, Equanimous St. Brown, Xavier Thomas, Cleve Raymond, and Johnny Walker appear to have their roster spots secured. But that 6th spot? That is total chaos, and it is absolutely delicious. Caden Davis has emerged as the hottest name in camp over the last stretch, and after a strong showing in last week's preseason opener, he currently looks like the guy to beat. But don't count anyone out just yet. Scotty Miller is a proven veteran presence who has flashed at times. Maurice Alexander has ties to head coach Ben Johnson, going back to their days together in Detroit and spent last season on Chicago's practice squad. Ray McLeod brings established league experience as both a speedy receiver option and a dangerous returner. And then there's J.P. Richardson, now in his second camp with the organization, continuing to flash promising moments of his own. If the Bears had to submit their final 53-man roster today and elected to keep 6 wide receivers, the smart money says Caden Davis earns that final spot. But this is a fluid, ever-changing situation, and if any of these other names put together a huge showing this Saturday night, that pendulum could swing in an entirely new direction almost instantly. This receiver room drama is far from finished, and it's must-watch material heading into the weekend. Running backs, rookies, A&D, everything else on the radar beyond the marquee story deserves a shout-out of his own after a jaw-dropping moment at Thursday's joint practice, where he ran so violent guardian cap clean off a defender's helmet. This guy apparently has a personal history of feasting on Cincinnati too, having been elevated last season to play the Bengals and ripping. Either way, expect Ahmed, Johnson, and Brown to soak up a heavy workload of snaps in this one. At quarterback, expect Case Keenum to handle roughly the first half of action before Miller Moss steps in for the remainder of the game. Moss's preseason debut wasn't exactly a career highlight reel, but a strong second showing could still matter, especially with backup Tyson Bagent currently a bit banged up, though not believed to be a long-term concern. Should Moss finish preseason strong, there's a real chance the Bears elect to stash him on the practice squad rather than cut him loose entirely. And keep an eye on the young rookies fighting to make their mark, including Sam Rauch, defensive lineman Logan Jones, and edge rusher Jordan Vandenberg, who has quietly been putting together an impressive camp of his own. Reportedly racking up 3 pressures on just 15 pass rushing snaps last week, a 20% win rate that ranks among the very best marks in the entire preseason. The bottom line, so here's where things stand heading into Saturday night in Cincinnati. Most of the household names on both sidelines will likely be watching from the bench. But that only means the spotlight shifts entirely to the players fighting for their NFL futures, guys with roster spots, depth chart battles, and entire careers hanging in the balance of a single preseason showing. Braxton Jones is out to reclaim his starting job for good. Xavier Thomas is out to remind everyone what electric speed looks like. Jamari Chroma is out to prove Week 1 wasn't a fluke. And an entire wide receiver room is out to fight for one single remaining roster spot. Kickoff from Cincinnati is set for 6 p.m. this Saturday night, and this is exactly the kind of preseason chaos you do not want to miss. So here's what you need to do right now. Smash that like button so this video reaches more Bears fans who need to see this breakdown. Drop a comment down below and let us know who your top player to watch is this Saturday night. And don't forget to predict the final score while you're at it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we will be live this Saturday night starting around 5 p.m., maybe even a little earlier, getting you fully prepped before kickoff. Plus, don't forget, we're raffling off 2 tickets to the Bears home opener in Week 2 against the Vikings, so you do not want to miss out on that. Subscribe, turn on those notifications, and we will see you Saturday night. Bear down.